Some people across the street from us had an Irish setter. And if you know anything about Irish setters, you know the dogs do not have the ability to walk. An Irish setter can only run. People right across the street from us had a grandson. And a grandson would come with his mother and father to visit. And the little 4-year-old grandson would play with that big Irish setter. And you'd see them romping and playing, and the dog would run. The little child's name was Paul, and the dog's name was Molly, and the dog would run to little Paul, and they would tangle up and fall down, and Molly would jump over them, and sometimes Molly would go to the left, sometimes Molly would run to the right, and they would just have a wonderful time. They would lay down together, and it was really something to see them playing. You know, dogs often can recognize the sound of a certain car engine. And so when little Paul's mother and dad brought him to visit one day, and the grandparents lived here, and the people had the Irish setter lived here, I happened to be out on the front. And Molly's up on her feet. She hears that car. And the car pulls in, and little Paul was looking over there, and he saw Molly, and little Paul began to run to Molly, and Molly began to run to little Paul, and Molly's galloping, and little Paul's running, and Grandma saw this, and she didn't know that they ever played together. And so Grandmother stands out on the front porch and says, "Don't worry, Paul. Molly won't bite you." And the little kid froze and began to scream, horrified. You see, up to that point, it never occurred to him that Molly might bite him. And from that day on, they could never put that little boy on the ground when he came to visit Grandmother. You see, if you are afraid of snakes, it is not because you were born afraid of snakes. It's because somebody taught you to be afraid of snakes. If you are afraid of climbing a tree, it's because somebody, maybe your mother, maybe your grandmother said, "Don't you fall out of the tree, you're going to get hurt."